time spent on things. It may seem strange to think that silence can be stronger than words, especially in today's world, where the loudest sounds often get our attention. But what if I told you that some of the most important people in history were able to persuade people without saying a word? This is what Stoicism is all about. It's a philosophy that not only survives, but lives in our crazy modern world because it teaches us the power of inner peace and the huge effect our actions have on others. Today, we're going to talk about how Stoicism, a theory based on the ideas of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, can change not only how you see yourself, but also how other people see you without you even saying a word. Whether you want to improve your personal relationships, your professional life, or just find more peace in your daily life, the Stoic principles we will talk about today offer practical, doable solutions that promise big changes. So, if you've ever felt ignored despite your best efforts, or if you're looking for a more honest way to show off your values and virtues, stay tuned for this journey into the quiet but powerful world of Stoicism. I'd appreciate it if you could click the subscribe button. Come on. Stoicism, which teaches people to control their emotions and stay true to themselves, tells us that dignity isn't about showy behavior. It's about real self-respect and the respect we give others through our actions. When we talk about taking care of ourselves with respect, Stoicism pushes us toward a calm, confident, and self-assured attitude without the need for loud statements of our own worth. It's in the way you carry yourself in everyday situations, like walking into a room with your head held high and listening carefully when others speak. It's in the firm handshake and sincere eye contact that show you're present and responsible, not just physically but also mentally and emotionally. But Stoic dignity goes beyond that. In Stoic terms, virtue means making sure that your deeds are in line with your morals. Being Stoic means being brave, disciplined, and smart in both your personal and professional life. When you choose to act with integrity, even when it would be easy to give up your values, you are showing Stoic dignity. Sometimes this means being honest when you're wrong, and other times it means standing up for someone else's rights, even when it's hard or dangerous to do so. To live by this every day, you have to make choices that show who you really are and who you want to be. It means staying true to your values no matter what. Being true to your values sends a strong message to those around you about what you stand for and builds trust and respect with peers, friends, and even enemies so you can live with pride. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our actions, our responses, and our values, and let go of the noise around us. This isn't about putting on a tough exterior or an indifferent mask. It's about developing a genuine sense of self-sufficiency that lets you handle life's ups and downs with ease. Knowing your worth is what grace and respect are all about. Respecting others enough to treat them with care and believing in yourself enough to live by your values. It's about having the quiet confidence that comes from sticking to your own morals and not worrying about what other people think. This is what Stoic honor is all about. Being quiet but strong, humble but deep. Stoics say that knowing your intrinsic value isn't about keeping track of your accomplishments or awards. It's about realizing your worth on its own, without any outside confirmation. This idea is important not only for boosting your self-esteem, but also for developing real self-respect and living a life that is in line with your inner values. When we talk about knowing your worth, Stoicism makes us look inside. Stoics like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius often talked about the idea of focusing on what you can change, your thoughts, your deeds, and your reactions. These are the places where your real worth shows. It's not about how much praise or criticism you get, but how honest you are. You should take care of your duties and give back to the community in ways that are in line with your values. But how do you know what you're worth in real life? The first step is to look at yourself. Spend some time with yourself and learn about your skills and weaknesses. Stoicism doesn't teach perfection, it teaches growth. Think about how you deal with problems. Do you give up when things get tough, or do you rise to the task and learn from it? How you handle these situations says a lot about who you are and how much you're worth. Being reserved also means dealing with other people in a way that shows you respect yourself. Stoics believe that everything in the universe is connected and depends on everything else. This means that treating others with dignity and respect makes you feel better about your own worth. When you treat others the way you want to be treated, you affirm your own values and show your worth through your actions. Stoics also believe that living virtuously shows how valuable they are. Virtue living according to wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation is when you live a good life, you develop a sense of who you are that is not easily shaken by the ups and downs of life. When you know and accept your worth in this way, you don't need other people to approve of you. Because you know your worth doesn't depend on praise or attention, you don't seek it out or be afraid of it. This frees you to live a life that truly shows who you are on the inside. A life where you can stand strong in tough times, sure of your worth and your path. Stoic philosophy says that knowing your worth means aligning how you see yourself with your greatest ideals and living in a way that always shows those ideals. It's a trip that requires being honest, brave, and constantly evaluating yourself. But it's also very rewarding as you become more aware of your own worth. It will make the people you talk to and relationships you have more important, and it will make your life more satisfying. As a form of self-respect and respect for others, this is a deep Stoic practice that goes beyond just telling people no. It includes knowing your own boundaries and respecting them. With its focus on self-mastery, autonomy, and inner freedom, Stoicism teaches that setting and sticking to limits is not just a way to keep yourself safe, but also a way to live your life in line with your values. A lot of the time, the focus is on our own internal boundaries, how we set limits for our own actions and thoughts to stay in line with our ideals. For example, Marcus Aurelius wrote a lot about keeping your mind on what's important and avoiding emotional overreactions and distractions. He believed in controlling how he reacted to outside events. He called this a boundary of the mind that keeps a person calm and honest no matter what. But how does this affect how we deal with other people? It starts with realizing that our time and energy are limited resources that need to be carefully managed. Just like a Stoic might keep their thoughts away from bad things and despair, we need to keep our time and energy away from relationships and interactions that drain us. This means learning to say no to requests that go against our morals and duties and not feeling bad about putting our own health first. Setting limits can also mean keeping your emotional area safe. Stoics like Seneca stress how important it is to hang out with people who are good for your health and growth, suggesting that we stay away from people who could lead us to bad behavior or trouble. In modern times, this could mean ending relationships that are harmful or too demanding and spending time with people who make us feel good and help us. Clear conversation is also part of setting limits. To communicate your needs and limits clearly and politely, without being hostile or passive, you need to be honest and direct. This type of direct communication is very Stoic because it means not being manipulative or passive-aggressive, which can make our relationships and our own morals less clear. Also, setting and sticking to boundaries teaches us a lot about respect, both giving and receiving it. When you consistently set and enforce your boundaries, you show others how you want to be treated, which, in turn, builds relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. This part of Stoicism isn't about building walls, but about knowing where your gates are and who you let in. Setting and sticking to boundaries is about making choices that are in line with who you are. This way of doing things not only makes you more honest, but it also makes your relationships stronger by letting them grow on a base of mutual respect and honest communication in the Stoic world. Not letting everyone in isn't about being exclusive or elitist. It's about respecting your own time and space. This Stoic practice shows us how important it is to be picky about the people we interact with and engage with, making sure that our energy and relationships are good for us and in line with our values. It's not about how many connections and obligations we have, but how good they are. Self-awareness is the first step in the idea of limiting access. Epictetus and other Stoics. It's important to know what we can control and put our efforts there. This means taking a good look at our lives and being honest about what deserves our time and attention. Are you spending time on things that feed your soul and help you grow? Are there other people in your life who are pushing you to be good? Stoicism doesn't tell us to shut ourselves off from the world. Instead, it tells us to care for our yard by watering only the plants that produce the most useful food. Setting strict limits on your time can be part of limiting access. For example, you might decide not to check emails or social media at certain times in the mornings and evenings to protect your peace. Or you might say no to social obligations that drain your energy instead of boosting it. By doing this, you make each yes you give more meaningful and keep your resources from being wasted on things that don't serve you. This principle also applies to emotions. Stoicism teaches us not to let outside events upset our inner peace. One way to keep the peace is to limit who can see our inner world. This doesn't mean becoming cold or uncaring. It just means deciding not to get involved in dramas or fights that make you feel bad. It's about not letting everything going on around you change your mood and way of thinking. By limiting access, you also teach people to respect and value your time and presence. They start to understand that your time is important and that being available is a privilege, not a given. Not only does this change how other people see you, it also changes how you see yourself. It supports the Stoic belief in self-respect and having a meaningful life. In the end, limited access is about choosing to spend your time and energy in ways that are in line with your values and building relationships that are truly helpful and fulfilling. Instead of making a lot of shallow connections all over the place, this selective method lets people have deeper, more meaningful conversations. A key idea in Stoic thought that has stood the test of time is that you should focus on adding depth to your life instead of breadth. The Stoic trust in self-sufficiency is what makes it possible to walk away. Stoics like Seneca and Epictetus say it's important to be happy with your moral choices and yourself. The idea is that you shouldn't be so attached to a job, a relationship, or anything else that the fear of losing it makes you unable to act, or makes you give up on your values. Knowing when a part of your life isn't serving your better purpose or being in line with your core values is what it means to have the courage to walk away. Walking away isn't an emotional reaction. It's a well-thought-out choice that comes from knowing what's good for you. It's about setting high standards for your personal and work life, like in relationships. In some cases, this could mean being able to end a relationship that isn't good for either of your jobs. For example, you might have to quit a job that limits your growth or makes you break your morals. Additionally, getting ready to leave is a way to show respect for oneself and the worth of one's life and choices. It supports the idea that you are in charge of your own life and can choose to be in situations and in relationships that help you grow. Happy and goodness. It's about not taking less than you earn and not holding on to things out of fear or comfort. Stoicism helps you see being ready to leave not as a loss, but as a strategic gain, a step toward more freedom and authenticity. When you're ready to leave situations that don't serve you, you open the door to opportunities that are more in line with your true self. Being ready to let go also teaches resilience by highlighting how temporary outside circumstances are and how strong a well-developed inner life is. This way of life not only makes you happier, but it also earns you respect and admiration from others who see you as someone who is not easily swayed by luck or fear. In the Stoic view, saying no is more than just refusing. It's a declaration of independence from wants and influences that don't line up with your core values and virtues. Stoicism is based on the idea that people should take responsibility for their own lives and choices. Stoicism teaches us to be picky about the things we agree to do to make sure they are in line with our values. Marcus Aurelius stressed how important it was to act in line with one's nature and logical self. This means turning down requests or chances that don't help our moral and personal growth. To be honest, being able to say no shows that you have the strength to stick to your beliefs, even if they are hard or disliked. This habit of saying no can show up in many areas of life, from small daily choices to big life decisions. It means turning down offers that would take us away from our goals, refusing to do things that would hurt our character, and even leaving relationships and places that are bad for us. Speaking no is a form of self-respect and self-preservation that frees us up to spend our time, energy, and attention on things that are truly important and enriching. However, the power of no goes beyond personal gain. It also sets an example for how other people should treat you by clearly stating your limits. People who are in relationships with you learn how to treat you and what you're willing to put up with. This not only builds relationships based on mutual respect and understanding, but it also gives others the chance to think about their own limits and how important it is to respect them in Stoic practice. The power of no also reflects the dichotomy of control, which is a central idea that tells us what we can control: our actions, reactions, and decisions, and what we can't: other people's actions, thoughts, and behaviors. By focusing on our own choices and refusing to let outside factors affect them, we stay calm and free from stress. Adopting the power of no is empowering. It's a statement of your independence and an important step toward living a true-to-yourself life. It's not about being negative or unwilling to cooperate. It's about being deliberate and selective, making sure that every yes you give is meaningful and in line with your true self. This is what it means to live stoically, not just surviving life's storms, but navigating them with deliberate and thought-out choices. This doesn't mean being skeptical about everything to the point of cynicism. Instead, it means looking at the world with care and thought, which Stoics think helps you understand and appreciate life's many challenges. Stoicism, as practiced by philosophers like Seneca and Epictetus, teaches that our first impressions or reactions to events are not always the most accurate or helpful. Instead, they advocate for a pause a moment to reflect and question before forming a judgment or taking action. This practice is rooted in the belief that our rational minds are capable of discerning truth from falsehood, and that by exercising this capability, we can lead more fulfilling and less reactive lives. Incorporating healthy skepticism into your daily life means not automatically accepting every piece of information you come across. It involves evaluating the source, considering the context, and weighing the evidence before forming an opinion. This is particularly relevant in an age dominated by instant information and frequent misinformation. By applying a Stoic lens, you're not just passively consuming information, but actively engaging with it, ensuring that what you accept is true, aligns with your values and understanding of the world. Moreover, healthy skepticism is crucial in personal relationships. It encourages you not to take things at face value, but to look deeper into the intentions and actions of others. This doesn't mean you distrust everyone, rather. You give yourself the opportunity to understand their actions and words more fully before reacting. For example, if someone criticizes you, instead of immediately reacting defensively, consider their perspective. Could there be validity to their criticism? Could you teach me something? This way of doing things not only keeps you clear of misunderstandings, but it also helps you grow as a person by teaching you traits like fairness and care. Stoicism also believes that having healthy doubts can help you avoid being let down by lowering your hopes. If you don't quickly think the best or worst about a situation, you keep a balanced view that is less likely to be thrown off by life's ups and downs. This equilite, one of the main ideas behind Stoicism, is not to deny or ignore happiness or pain, but to reach a calm state of mind that isn't affected by changes in the outside world. Stoic philosophy says that healthy skepticism is not a way to avoid the world, but a way to become more involved in it. It helps you make decisions that aren't just based on what you're experiencing, but on a deep understanding of how the world works. By developing this skeptical mindset, you give yourself the power to live a life that isn't just based on reactions, but on deliberate, thought-out actions. Stoics believe that chasing a person often shows an unhealthy need for approval from others or a fear of losing out, both of which are against their values. Stoics like Epictetus say that we can find peace by focusing on our own deeds and staying good no matter what is going on around us. By not chasing after things we can't control, we protect our inner peace and keep our dignity. When we use this in our daily lives, don't chase can mean not worrying too much about whether other people like or accept us, not giving in to unreasonable demands, or not going after goals that don't really fit with our core values, that we are okay with things not going the way we want them to, and trust that by focusing on our own actions and reactions, we are staying true to what really counts. Stoic practice also teaches us about detachment, but not in the sense of being alone or not caring. Instead, it teaches us how to keep a healthy distance from outcomes. This helps us enjoy life to the fullest without becoming too attached to any one outcome, which frees us from the emotional turmoil that often comes with our plans and expectations. For example, in relationships, this could mean giving your all to a partnership without holding on too tightly to the idea of Stoics teach us not to chase after things, which means to value what we give more than what we receive. It means being at peace with the process instead of being focused on the outcome. While this way of thinking doesn't take away from ambition or the search for excellence, it does change the definition of success to include personal integrity and the peace that comes from knowing you've been true to yourself. This way of thinking leads to a life where we aren't driven by the need for approval from others, but by the satisfaction that comes from knowing we are living our lives in line with our values and virtues. Being able to accept and understand that everyone, including ourselves, is a part of the natural order of things and has their own flaws and strengths is closely linked to pure love. It makes us see others with understanding and kindness, knowing that they are also trying to figure out how to live their lives. This kind of love requires us to be patient, tolerant, and not angry or mean, even when we are angry or hateful. Practicing unconditional love in our daily lives means staying calm and loving even when others aren't responding the way we'd like. It means making a promise to treat others with kindness and respect, no matter what they do or how they act, which can often make us question our own emotional responses. This doesn't mean putting up with abuse or neglect. Instead, it means reacting to negativity from a place of understanding instead of reaction. Also, Stoicism teaches us that our ability to love without conditions is a form of personal strength. By separating our well-being from the actions and reactions of others, we gain more control over our emotional life. This separation isn't about not caring. It's about getting ready for life's challenges. We can also love ourselves without conditions. Stoics believe that we should accept and love ourselves completely, even when we don't agree with ourselves. They say that this kind of self-directed love is important because it sets the tone for how we treat others. If we can accept and love ourselves completely, we are better able to show others the same level of acceptance and love. Stoics believe that unconditional love is not just an emotion, but a disciplined virtue that includes careful thought, wise action, and a deep dedication to the common good. It's about building partnerships based on not for personal gain, but out of genuine care and respect for the well-being of others. This way of loving not only makes our relationships stronger, but it also fits with the Stoic goal of living a peaceful and meaningful life. Stoicism, which focuses on personal virtue and inner peace, encourages us to live a life where our happiness and peace are not too dependent on the actions, feelings, or approval of others. In real life, this means this way of thinking helps people avoid the common mistake of tying too much of their identity and emotional health to another person, which can cause disappointment and emotional distress if relationships change or problems arise. For example, if you get all of your self-worth and meaning from a romantic relationship or a close friendship, you might feel lost if that relationship ever gets tense or ends. Being stoic teaches us to find value and happiness in many things. One way to do this is to find a job that fits with your ideals, doing things like hobbies that push you, writing down your personal philosophy, or doing community service that makes you feel like you're making a difference for the better setting, and sticking to limits that protect your time and emotional energy is another part of this Stoic principle. It tells you to say no to requests that make it harder for you to meet your own needs and grow. It means giving yourself the same amount of space and time as others. This isn't greed. It's a form of deep self-respect that recognizes the need for personal growth along with relationship growth. Furthermore, when you don't base your whole life on another person, you create healthier dynamics in your relationships. Each person brings their own strengths, hobbies, and points of view to the table, which makes the relationship stronger, instead of using it as a crutch for personal insecurities or unmet needs. This balance between being together and being yourself is important for any relationship that lasts and helps each other. Stoic advice to not center your life around another person teaches us about resilience. It gets us ready to face life's changes and challenges with a strong sense of self and a solid personal foundation. Being ready for this not only makes our own lives better, but it also makes us better, more present, and emotionally stable partners. People you know and love. The Stoic commitment to virtue isn't just about doing the right thing. It's also about living a life that is deeply satisfying and strong when things go wrong. Stoics believe that virtue is the key to a good life. Virtue is not a set of strict rules, but a guiding concept that helps us make decisions and deal with others every day. For Stoics, virtue is made up of 4 main parts: the wise, courage, fair play, and having temper. To be wise, you need to learn about yourself and know how to act in the best way. To be courageous, you need to be brave in physical danger and have the moral courage to do what is right, even when it is hard. To be just, you need to treat others fairly and act like a member of a community, respecting their rights and feelings. Self-control or temperance means keeping our wants and urges in check so that we can live in line with our real needs and goals. Adding virtue to your life means making choices that always line up with these ideals. It's about picking what's right, not just what's easy. For example, if you have to make a choice at work or in your personal life, a Stoic would tell you to go with the path that is most in line with these virtues. This could mean standing up for a coworker who is being treated unfairly, showing restraint when provoked, or helping a friend in need even when it's inconvenient. Living virtuously also means seeing problems as chances to grow. Stoicism teaches that problems are not the end. When we deal with problems in a good way, we not only get through them, but our spirit and strength also grow. This way of looking at things changes how we deal with the good and bad things in life, changing every moment into a chance to stand up for what we believe in. Stoics also says that virtue is closely linked to inner peace. When we match our actions with our deepest values, we reduce internal conflict. It's very peaceful to know that your actions are in line with what you believe. This harmony lowers stress and raises self-esteem, which leads to a calm and happy mind. The pursuit of virtue is an ongoing and ever-evolving process. It's not about being perfect, but about becoming the best version of ourselves. It makes our lives better, strengthens our relationships, and gives us a reliable compass in a world that is often confusing and unpredictable. Stoicism encourages us to see virtue not as a duty, but as a way to personal freedom and fulfillment, a journey that is both rewarding and difficult. Remember the path to virtue and adopt the ideas we've talked about and let them lead you to a life of meaning and peace. If you made it this far, let us know what you think in the comments. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe.